Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or good evening, or wherever it is you're watching in the world, or whatever time it is of day that you're watching this in the world. My name is Mr. Controversial. I am one half of the two halves and a 45 channel co-host here. And today we're starting a brand new show, which is our In the Mud series, where we, do a little bit of a deep dive, more so a bit of a review of a specific club. And today we're talking about Chelsea in the mud. So we're going to start off with, where any roller coaster starts at the beginning. And it started really with the Ukrainian and Russian war. Their owner at the time, Roman Abramovich, did have links to a one slick guy on a horseback, Putin. It started with, the war there and his ties with Russia. Due to that, and, the club being in England, well, sanction, 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 sanction. And then that led to them not even being able to afford petroleum or gas for us here in America to even travel to play games, which honestly, when you think about it, was crazy at the time. We all thought that Chelsea was really just going to be, well, no more. And granted, I have had my gripes with Chelsea. I mean, I've always supported, I'm not going to mention the team today, but I did support one of their biggest rivals. Um, and, I've always, well, just never really liked Chelsea.
That's the truth.
But hearing what was going on with them not even being able to travel and, their club possibly, going under, it wasn't a good thought. It wasn't a good sight. It was pretty bad. It was really bad for a good time. But then here comes America, Big Boley to the rescue. Yeah! He came in, and $4.5 billion later, Chelsea was now an American team. It was yet to be seen if it would actually become something, any more than, well, what we thought it was. Would it be kind of like Kroenke at Arsenal, or, the Liverpool owners, at Liverpool? We had no idea. We were just along for the ride at that point. And it seemed at first that, well, he was really, really putting in the work. Aside from certain decisions that he made in the beginning by firing most of the backroom staff that actually got Chelsea to the levels that they were able to, attain with all the trophies that they have in their cabinet, which was a weird move to say the least. But then adding a whole bunch of pressure on Tuchel at the time, it wasn't, awesome how that relationship kind of ended with them firing him and partway through the season. You could see that it was really wearing him down, considering that they were using him pretty much as a consultant. Like, he's a coach. This is not FIFA, guys. Like, you can't just give a coach all the responsibilities on top of what they already have to do with speaking to the media and managing the team, managing a whole slew of players with a whole different types of like mindsets and attitudes and agendas. It's difficult. And then he wanted to add more on his plate. Come on, like, come on, Chelsea, Todd Bowley, come on. And then they did what, funny enough, what Chelsea always does. They got a new coach. And here comes Harry Potter.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Well, honestly, he's never really managed a bigger team outside of, being at Brighton and, other, lower leagues as well. So we didn't really know if he could really do it. Well, newsflash, he couldn't. I mean, yes, they did give him all the resources. They spent close to 400 million that summer on players, and they kept on buying more players. It got to a point where the players in the dressing room didn't even have space to change. They had to change in the hallway. What? Like, what's going on here? And then to make it even worse, they were giving them these crazy contracts. 8 years? I mean, really, let's break this down. A player gets an 8-year contract. He doesn't perform well in the first 2 years. Well, he has 6. He then doesn't perform well in the next 2 years. Well, he has 4. So does that really give a player incentive to work hard for the badge?
There is no passion, there is no vision, there is no aggression, there is no fucking mindset in this football club. Nothing is there. What the hell is there in this football club? Tell me now.
Then they went on to not only spend upwards of 400 million in having a, bloated first team, they then went on to add even more players. And on top of that, break the English record. And it was honestly a sight to see. This roller coaster was now hitting peak excitement right now. It was hitting the highest point. And then you know what happens once the roller coaster gets to its highest point. The fall does happen. And that it did. They went ahead and they fired Potter because he wasn't performing well, which it was a Chelsea thing to do. You can't blame them for it. It was crazy that they even hired him, which he didn't really have much experience, especially managing a big team like Chelsea with all these different players. There wasn't any consistency, especially with their, his team selection and their performances. Chelsea went from being a shoo-in for top 4 every year, possibly even winning the Premier League, to having to battle mid-team sides. Yep, fall off was happening. And then they went with, I believe, an interim coach, for a short time. Then Frank Lampard.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
Which, if they weren't in the mud before, they were definitely in the mud now, because that did not bode well for Chelsea. They got dunked out of the Champions League. He lost, I think, 5 games on a trot. It was just an embarrassment. His second go-around was way worse than his first. It was absolutely un-Chelsea-like. And then they finished 12th. Chelsea, the pride of London, 12th. West Ham even won silverware. Matter of fact, they were the only team that won silverware in London. So, I mean, at least they did better than Tottenham.
Formation, and the two goals came very quickly.
Yeah, but Tottenham, it's the history of the Tottenham.
Honestly, all jokes aside, Chelsea didn't do better than Tottenham. It just goes to show that money doesn't really make a team. Well, as per Pep.
How difficult have the club found the transfer market this summer? Do you think it's getting more and more difficult as the
I think Chelsea's easier than us. That's for sure. I could not be sit here if we spend with Chelsea had to spend in 2 transfer windows. You will kill me. You will kill me.
And it doesn't even stop there, because it seems like this roller coaster is going for a second go around with their, transfer market offloaded 12 players, just to then by 14 more. What is going on at Chelsea? Now the players are pretty much still in the same boat. They can't all change in the locker room. You have a bloated first team. And yes, they did get Pochettino, but it is Chelsea. And you know how they view coaches. So only time will tell what will happen with Chelsea. But I mean, with their performance this season, I mean, yeah, it's only been 3 games, but it hasn't been good. Caicedo's debut was a disaster. And they did break the English Premier League transfer record again in less than a year getting him. They also have the the new starlet from Southampton coming through, and they're pretty much winger FC at this time. So it's really confusing what's going on. Nobody really knows what the trajectory of Chelsea is. Nobody really understands the path that they're going on, overall project. It just seems that they're just throwing a whole lot of money at anybody who will take it. And, well, money doesn't buy you success. It doesn't. So, Ukrainian war led to their first owner having to sell the club. Their next owner did buy the club, pumped a whole lot of money in it, but also fired their backroom staff, placed an inexperienced coach at a big team to manage it. That fell through, gave 8-year contracts to players that now seemingly don't seem to care for the badge or want to play for the badge. And now they brought in a new coach and almost spent $1 billion in a matter of a year. And they're still not performing it. Chelsea is in the mud. Thanks for watching, guys. That's Chelsea in the mud, the recap of what's going on, and like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next show. It will be Manchester United.